It turns distance to closeness. It turns ignorance into wisdom. It turns conflict into, I don't know it. I don't necessarily believe it, but I understand. P for imperfect. Understanding. Understanding is a very unique type of knowledge. It's something beyond our own perspective. Kernel of compassion in understanding, because it creates connection. What I'm really hoping is my phone doesn't go off during this, there isn't a knock on the door, or I run out of memory, because that's happened in the last video 3 times. I had to do the last video 3 times. So I'm really hoping that this video just goes as planned. Don't know why I'm telling you that, but I feel better that it's off my chest. Anyway, understanding. We're going to be looking at, in the next 10-15 minutes, why understanding is an important step on the men's personal development road, or as we call it, doing the work. Well, first, let's ask the question, what is understanding? Well, understanding is a very unique type of knowledge, right? It's different to knowledge. Understanding is not knowing something. It's beyond that. It's something beyond our own perspective, right? So when I understand something, when I try to understand something, I've got to get beyond what I know, and I've got to move into a different set of understanding. So I have to give up my perspective. I have to give up my preconceived ideas, and I have to be open to another person's experience. It's about me. Well, it's not even about being open to another person's experience. To understand someone, to understand something, it means, if you think about it, it means to get beneath, right? So it's not about having an overlook, it's understanding. I'm understanding that person, I'm getting beneath, right? So it means getting involved with. So I give up what I know, I give up what I think I know, I give up my perspective, and I get in to that person, and I understand their experience. I understand the subject that I'm looking at. It's deeper than knowledge. Yeah, it's almost a sort of embodiment. It's like I understand it, right? I understand it. I don't know it. I don't necessarily believe it, but I understand it, right? And that's massively important anyway, you know, because the thing with that is it turns distance to closeness, right? It turns ignorance into wisdom, right? It turns conflict into understanding, right? Because that's where it's different from knowledge. Knowledge means I get it. Understanding creates connection, right? And so why is that particularly important with men's personal development journey? Well, you're gonna be dealing with different things and different people all the time. And I would imagine if you are on that journey, one of the things you are looking for is a deeper connection to yourself first, and then a deeper connection to others, right? So to get a deeper connection with myself, I have to truly understand myself, not just know how I work, not just be aware of the things that drive me, not just aware of the experiences that have shaped me, but really understand. It's almost verging on the compassionate. You know, it's no good me just knowing why I do stuff. It's understanding why I do stuff. Can you see how there's an element of compassion almost integral to that, right? To be able to really understand why I do something brings a level of compassion, and that level of compassion comes from the connection in it. It comes from the connection in it. I mean, look at it from a different point of view. Let's take it outwards and look at it with other people. So say you're dealing with a person and you have a completely different cultural, historical background to that person, right? Now you can know about their experience, right? But it's very different to understand their experience. And the flip side of that is you can know why people from different cultures do certain things, certain ways. But when you can understand it, it brings a level of compassion to it. And that goes to people even who are adversaries, right? Think about someone who murders, right? Now, if I can't understand why someone could kill someone else, I'm not going to be able to find compassion for that person or understanding. There isn't going to be any connection there, right? Even if I know why, right? Oh, you know, he done this, this, and this, and so he went up and he done that, right? We can know that. But when we sit there and we really understand, why did you kill that person? Well, that person attacked my daughter, my son, my whatever. And then I put myself in that perspective and go, I might do that same thing given those same circumstances. Then I understand it. Then there's connection. I mean, that's an extreme one. But if you're in a men's personal development and say you're working with someone, you might come across people who have done things or are currently doing things that are the complete opposite of your beliefs, right? But sometimes we have to find the connection in there, because if I think I'm different than, if I think I'm separate then somewhere I'm isolating myself. Somehow I'm saying either I am different from everyone else or that person is different from everyone else. And that's very hard to work with, whether you're a facilitator, particularly if you're a facilitator of this stuff. It's really hard to work with if you think that person is different and unique, or you think indeed you are different and unique. And if I go as a participant along to something and I believe I'm different, unique and special, chances are I'm not going to get what I've come for unless I give that up. So understanding of self, understanding of others is core, because it creates connection in a way that simple knowledge can't. It brings perspective in a way that knowledge can't. And it takes a lot of effort, because to understand someone, think about when you've been in an argument with someone or you watch two people arguing. Often it's like I can see the one conversation going over the top, one conversation going over. It's like they're both saying, but the meaning is missing each other because they're so angry. They can't find any common ground. So they can't understand each other. So it just becomes butting against, right? It just becomes but against. And there's no possibility for connection in there because there's no understanding. Right, and ironically, conflict creates connection once we get understanding, right? Because the process of trying to understand what went wrong really brings us closer, right? So, so the reason that often people miss each other when they're in conflict with each other is because if I'm going to sit and listen and try to understand, I can only do that if I'm entering into this with a possibility that I might be wrong, or at least I may learn something different. Right? So think about that when you see politicians arguing. They're not talking to each other at all. One is just looking for his excuse to give his dogma. The other one's just giving their excuse to give their dogma, right? Because it isn't a conversation when you get two politicians together on TV. It's not a conversation, it's a pissing contest. Each one is trying to prove that they're right and cleverer than the other one. So they can't find any understanding in there, because to go into it to try and understand would have to be going in with a level of admitting you could be wrong, which means going in with vulnerability. And if you've got sides to defend, that ain't the place to go in, right? But when you're going into a men's personal development situation or any personal development, there's no winning or losing. There's only trying to find win-wins. So we have to create understanding. And going into anything with that feels like a risk because our ego comes up and we want to know. We want to present ourselves like we know and we're right, right? The amount of times I've worked with someone and it's almost like they want to hold on to their shame, hold on to their problems because it's become an identity. They want to hold on to that anger for the person who wronged them or traumatized them. And the healing may be in letting go of that. And the process of letting go in that might mean getting inside the mind of the person who traumatized you or did you wrong and understanding where they were coming from. Even if it doesn't make sense, to have an understanding of, I can see what they were trying to do there, and it may not necessarily be about me, is going to bring some more compassion into the element, which means it's easier for you to let go, easier to forgive, easier to move on. If we want to deal with our old problems going, I've thought all this through all the time, and I know what was right and I know what was wrong, and somehow I'm still in pain, or dude, you're just drinking the poison over and over and over and over again and expecting the other person to die, right? At some point, you just got to pour the poison out and go, I understand that you were a fucked up person, you've done a fucked up thing, and given the upbringing, whatever you had, if it had been the same for me, maybe I'd have ended up the same as you. So I get why you've done that thing to me. I get it. It's not okay, but I get it. I understand why you did it. That brings that element of compassion in, an element of connection, which then goes, all right, I can let that go now. Right? I hope this is making sense. It's a delicate meaning that I'm trying to deliver. And I don't know the right words for how to say that there's a kernel of compassion in understanding because it creates connection. That's where I'm trying to get to. And that kernel of compassion, whether it be with ourselves or with others, is often enough to create the crack so that we can start looking at building different strategies and different mind models to help us heal. Right? So, understanding, massively important part of men's personal development journey because it creates connection. You can't understand something if you can't connect to it. So, keep doing the work, keep connected, keep reaching out. If there's something you want me to do a video about, reach out about that. Yeah. Good to spend this time with you. I don't take it for granted. Thanks for watching to the end. See you later. Bye.